Arman Tsarukyan is a real threat to anybody, okay? He is a tremendous fighter. I know a lot of people discredit him for pulling out at the last minute, and rightly so, okay? That's not a good look. However, he's a really, really good fighter. Simple as that. He can do it all. He's got the striking, the wrestling, the cardio, the strength. He's very young. He's in his prime, and the man's an absolute monster. Simple as that. Ilia Topuria said if the UFC made him fight Arman Tsarukyan, he would vacate the belt, okay?
And you have a guy in front who you don't know that maybe he could pull out from the fight. That's not something good for us. I'm the world champion. I'm never going to give him a chance to fight for the title. I will be like, listen, if that's the case, take my belt.
Were you impressed by the performance of Ilia?
I was impressed because it happened in the first round. But I knew like he has one of the best boxing in our division right now. The best weapon is boxing. So when he knocked him out like that, I was surprised. Like he just fought straight, you know. Yeah, so it was good knockout, you know.
Arman Tsarukyan just went nuclear on social media. This man literally told Dana White to put a quote in Ilia Topuria's bathroom, reminding him not to sit down while taking a leak. I'm not making this up. The #1 contender just called the lightweight champion a straight-up P-word and accused him of ducking the biggest fight in the division.
Then, Arman, I got one more thing for you. Why does Dan Hooker keep popping off on you on X? I just want to know, did something happen that we don't know between you and Dan Hooker?
No. I know like these people, they just can talk on the internet, but when they one-on-one, they scared. Like,
how do you see a fight between you and Dan Hooker going?
Just I'm going there to play. Just easy money. It no makes sense fight for me. Yeah. I don't need money right now. I need belt. If I beat him, people say you beat like a top 10 or I don't know what's his number. He never beat like a good fighters. He never beat. He never be on the top 5. So it's.
We're talking bathroom insults, ducking accusations, and the most savage callouts you've ever heard. This is MMA drama at its absolute peak, and you do not want to miss a single second of this insanity. Let's set the stage here. Ilia Topuria just captured the vacant lightweight title with a spectacular first-round knockout of Charles Oliveira at UFC 317. But instead of celebrating with fans about potential title defenses, El Matador dropped a bombshell that's got the entire MMA world talking. They are going to give him a fight before the title shot because there's no way. I'm the world champion. I'm never going to give him a chance to fight for the world title. I would be like, listen, if that's the case, take my belt. I don't do it.
I'm the world champion. I'm never going to give him a chance to fight for the title. I will be like, listen, if that's the case, take my belt. I don't do it. He has to fight.
Hats Topuria on a recent Nelk Boys live stream, essentially saying he'd rather vacate his newly won title than defend it against the clear #1 contender, Arman Tsarukyan. Now, to understand why this is so controversial, you need to know that Tsarukyan is sitting pretty with a 9-2 record and a 4-fight win streak. He was supposed to challenge Islam Makhachev for the title at UFC 311, but had to pull out hours before the fight due to a back injury. But here's where it gets spicy. Tsarukyan wasn't having any of Topuria's comments. Arman Tsarukyan came out swinging on social media, and folks, he did not hold back. Let me read you his exact response. Who wants to let Ilia know he's not McGregor and that he's making all the champs look bad? Champs fight the #1 contender. But this is the same guy who thinks he's the BMF. How do you say pussy in Spanish? Ouch. But Tsarukyan wasn't done there. He took it even further with this absolute roast. Islam has a great quote at the UFC PI. He will fight anybody, anytime, and anywhere. Hey Dana, maybe now's a good time to put a quote in the bathroom for Ilia reminding him not to sit down while pissing. Thanks, boss.
Ilia, stop running, Ilia.
Stop running, Ilia. Good boy. I'll make it quick, no worries. Good boy.
Now that's what I call taking the gloves off. Tsarukyan is essentially calling Topuria a coward and suggesting he needs bathroom reminders about what it means to be a champion. The reference to Islam Makhachev's UFC Performance Institute quote, anytime, anywhere, is particularly cutting, considering Makhachev's reputation for taking on all challengers. The Armenian fighter clearly sees this as straight-up avoidance, especially when he believes he's earned his spot as the rightful #1 contender. So what do other fighters think about this situation? Well, UFC bantamweight champion Sean O'Malley offered some interesting perspective on the Overdogs podcast. O'Malley acknowledged that while Tsarukyan is definitely dangerous and has a real shot at beating Topuria, he understands where the champion is coming from a business standpoint.
Dana says he wants Islam versus Arman Tsarukyan rematch next. That's crazy. Look at the size difference of Arman and Islam.
Yeah, Arman's so skilled, bro.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be crazy if Arman's champ.
Arman's first fight in the UFC was fighting Islam short notice, and he fought him arguably better than anybody's fought him up until Dustin last night. So I would give it to who else?
Yeah.
Who else?
Dana White rejects Islam Makhachev as #1 pound for pound fighter. What do you mean? He's got to be pound for pound. Who?
He said that John Jones is ahead.
She says John Jones #1 pound for pound right now, 2024. Islam. Well, if Dana said it, he's right. Jokes.
Is John fighting Stipe this year?
Madison
Probably.
Square Garden?
Yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
It's deserving.
According to Shuga, Topuria is thinking like a superstar. Why fight the dangerous but less popular Tsarukyan when you could face bigger names like Islam Makhachev, Justin Gaethje, or even Paddy Pimblett? O'Malley summed it up perfectly. Why risk it against someone that's not super popular, who's very, very, very dangerous? It's the classic risk versus reward calculation that many champions face in the modern UFC era.
Más difícil, superar las batallas diarias. Superar esa lucha interna de cuando no quieres hacer las cosas, cuando estás desmotivado, cuando estás cansado, cuando te da pereza hacer las cosas y cambiar todo eso y de tener millones de excusas para no hacerlo, encontrar esa razón para sí hacerlo, ¿sabes? Eso es realmente lo complicado de cualquier cosa en la vida. Si algo quieres, algo te cuesta, y lo que te cuesta es el trabajo diario, porque tu vida depende de las acciones que tomas todos los días de tu vida.
But here's where it gets even more interesting. Dan Hooker has jumped into the mix with his own take on the situation. Dan the Hangman Hooker recently appeared on Submission Radio and made some pretty bold claims about what's happening in the lightweight division. According to Hooker, all the top contenders are finding excuses to avoid Tsarukyan.
Oh, that's a tough fight. That's a close fight. Once their team's very smart. The Dagestan boys are very smart. They're very, very intelligent at breaking down fighters. There's a lot of knowledge there on the feet, and I feel like once he has more time to study and break down Arman's counter wrestling, I think it'll be a more dominant. I think it'll be a more dominant win. For Islam in the second fight.
All those big-name guys, they've got a good excuse to not fight him. Ilia said he's not going to fight him. The UFC says that he needs one more. But here's the kicker. Hooker actually wants to fight Tsarukyan, and he's not shy about calling him out. In fact, he had some choice words for the Armenian fighter. I'm the only one that's going to fight you, you dumb fuck. That's the fight. I'm the only one that's going to step up and fight the guy.
I feel like stylistically you match up against Dan Hooker. If you two were to fight, how would that fight play out?
For sure, I'm gonna do wrestling, a lot, because he's good striker, I'm gonna do a lot of change level, show wrestling, show striking, and do wrestling a lot, pressing a lot, and I must broke him in the during the fight.
Hooker explained that his call-out got personal after Tsarukyan took some unprovoked shots at him on social media. But beyond the trash talk, Hooker makes a compelling point. He genuinely believes Tsarukyan is the best at winning fights in the division, which is exactly why other top contenders are finding reasons to avoid him. So what does all this mean for the lightweight division? Well, we're seeing a classic case of champion versus contender politics play out in real time. On one hand, you have Tsarukyan, the clear #1 contender who's earned his shot through merit and rankings. He's rightfully frustrated that he's being passed over, despite checking all the traditional boxes. On the other hand, you have Topuria, a newly crowned champion who's thinking about legacy fights and big money bouts rather than following the conventional challenger order. This situation raises some important questions about how title shots should be determined in the modern UFC. Is it purely about rankings and merit, or should champions have more say in choosing opponents that make business sense? This story is far from over, fight fans. With Dana White yet to weigh in publicly and the lightweight division in flux, we're likely to see more fireworks before this gets resolved. Will Topuria eventually be forced to face Tsarukyan? Will the UFC side with their new champion's business preferences? Or will someone like Dan Hooker shake up the entire equation? One thing's for sure, the lightweight division has never been more dramatic, and we'll be here to cover every twist and turn. That's all for tonight's UFC Central. Keep your gloves up, and we'll see you next time.